doing? That's live. What? Yeah.
Okay.
You're live.
I'm live now? Oh, my watch is off. It's like 4 minutes off.
You got 1 minute.
Hello. That worked.
Wow.
Okay. So, Shana Tova, everybody.
Not bad.
It is a wonderful pleasure to be able to be part of this community, this congregation, and all of you. And so, with all of us together, we create something very special and unique for our community. We are going to begin our service on page 17. Page 17.
Creator of beginnings, as you created the world on this day, uniting fragments into a universe, so help unite our hearts and the hearts of all Jews to serve you. Illumine our lives with the light of your Torah, for by your light do we see light. Grant us this year a glimpse of the light of redemption, the light of healing and of peace. Amen.
Page 19. Behold me of little merit, trembling and afraid, as I stand before you to plead for your people. O gracious God, the one enthroned by Israel's praises, compassionate and loving, accept my petition and that of my people. Let them not be put to shame because of me, nor I because of them. Sinners though we are, let our prayers come before you, innocent and sweet and pleasing, as though from hearts more worthy than ours. Let love be the banner we raise in your sight, and let that love conceal all our sins and make them as though they had not been. Change our afflictions to joy and gladness, our misdeeds to acts of life. May our love of truth and peace remove all that hinders us from sincere and fruitful prayer. O God supreme, God of every age, God eternal, let my prayer find favor for the sake of the righteous, the loyal, the honest and upright, and for the sake of your own glorious purpose on earth. For you are the one who in mercy hears our prayer. Blessed are you who hearkens to prayer.
Hear me, Jacob, Israel, whom I have called. I am the one, the beginning and the end. My own hand founded the earth and spread out the skies. Thus says the Eternal One, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who made the earth and all that grows in it, who gives breath to his people and spirit to those who walk on it.
I believe all your righteousness.
Taken by my hand and kept you. I have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations, to open blind eyes, to bring captives out of prison, and those who sit in darkness from their dungeons.
Thus says the Eternal One, Creator of heavens, the one who is.
I am.
I believe there is none else. Justice is my speech, right my declaration. The troubled past is forgotten, hidden from our sight.
For behold, I created a new heaven and a new earth, the past forgotten, never called to mind. Be glad, then and rejoice forever in my creation.
Before us lies a new day, and in the distance a new world, ours to create by the strength of our faith.
I lift up my eyes.
Thank you. We will not forget you, God of our people. Hear our prayer. We who speak are Jews. Remember, the bush kindled once in the desert air, years ago when horrors were on the sand. The fire you lit to set the centuries aflame, and say to us your endless perfect name. I am what I will be, it burns eternally now, that light upon our altars now, against the night, and there are deserts still. We are the Jews who do not forget.
Remember the word you spoke, don't
The mountain smoked, and the dismayed multitude stood off, hearing the first time the words they could not refuse, fearing the burden and the God that set them into history. And there are the mountains, and there are mountains still. We are the Jews. We cannot forget. We come here then, but something far more deep compels. The ancient desert dream we keep of people touched by God, a certain grace that tells of you. We are locked with you in old identity, remembering the lightning of that place. Something in us of your awesome will, something of that mountain's thunder still.
Love us as much as we will let you. We are your Jews. We will not forget you. בחודש השביעי, באחד לחודש, יהיה לכם שבתון, זיכרון תרועה, מקרא קודש, כל מלאכת עבודה לא תעשו. In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, there shall be a sacred cessation, a sacred assembly, a cessation from work, a day of commemoration proclaimed by the sound of the shofar. לחיים ולשלום, לששון ולשמחה, לשירה ולנחמה, ונאמר, Amen. May it be your will, eternal our God and God of all generations, that the year 5782 bring to us, the whole house of Israel, life and peace, joy and exaltation, redemption and comfort. And let us all say, Amen. Please remain standing. Page 25. There was silence. There was chaos.
there was a voice. A mind went forth to form worlds. Now order reigns where chaos once held sway.
Lord, we see fall. Lord, brings down the dawn.
The moon follows accustomed paths, constellations their patterned ways. Together, sovereign is the will that orders the stars in their courses in the endless skies. Sovereign is that will. Israel endures. Heart still turned to love, soul turning still to life.
Day and night, early and late, who rejoice to study Torah, who walk by the light and flow. They are our light and length our days. Praise be the source of life and love, and Israel our people.
Lord,
What does it mean to be a Jew? You shall be holy.
The faith of sin, stand for one, as the precious fragments make them whole.
What does it mean to be a Jew? You shall be a holy people. Holy in our past is the memory of redemption from Egyptian bondage.
Holy in our days, the hope of redemption is fulfilled.
Twice holy in our past are those who gave their lives to hell in this world.
Holy is the Jew today and tomorrow, bears witness to the goodness of life.
And holy are those whose lives are songs of freedom's cause.
Together, now let all come to say, the Eternal has redeemed Israel and all the oppressed. Blessed is the Eternal God. At the bottom of 29. Yitgadal v'yitgadal Shnei Ha'ad El Ma'divrah Yirutei Yoni Lichmatei V'chayei Kol Yomechom U'chayei Kol Beit Yisrael U'Yisman Kariv Nimeru Amen Yehei Shnei Rabba Mevorach Le'ol
You are our sovereign and our help, our Savior and our shield. Blessed is the Eternal One, the shield of Abraham, the protector of Sarah. Together. Great is your might, eternal One, in this world. Great is your power in the worlds beyond. Your love sustains the living. Your great compassion is the source of life. Your power is in the help that comes to the fallen, in the healing that comes to the sick, in the freedom you bring to the captive, in the faith you keep of those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, mighty one, who is your author of life and death, source of salvation.
Who is like the Lord mercy, compassion to save the life of your children. Trust you to restore our life. Blessed is the Lord, source of all life.
Atakadosh, V'shimcha Kadosh, U'kedoshim Kol Yom Yehalucha Selah. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who strive to be holy declare your glory day by day. Please be seated. We join together. Eternal God, cause all your works to stand in awe before you, and all that you have made to tremble in your presence. Let all that lives revere you, and all creation turn to you in worship. Let them all become a single family, doing your will with a perfect heart. For well we know, eternal God, that yours is the majesty, yours the might, and awesome is your name in all creation. Grant honor to your Then the just shall see and exalt, the upright be glad, and the faithful sing for joy. Violence shall rage no more, and evil shall vanish like smoke. The rule of tyranny shall pass away from the earth, and you alone shall reign over all your works, as it is written.
Lord shall reign forever, God of Zion, generation of generation. Hallelujah.
You are holy, awesome is your name. There is no God but you, as it is written.
Lord of hosts, exalt thy justice. Holy God, we sanctify your reign.
Baruch atah Adonai HaMelech HaKadosh. Blessed is our God, the Holy Sovereign. In love and favor, O God, you have chosen us from all the peoples, hallowing us with your mitzvot. Our Sovereign, you have summoned us to your service, that through us your great and holy name may become known in all the earth. In your love, O God, you have given us this day of remembrance, to hear the sound of the shofar, to unite in worship, and to recall the exodus from Egypt. Zolbrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova.
Amen.
This day remember us for well-being.
Amen.
Ufakdenu bo livracha. Uvahoshienu bo l'chaim. This day help us to live. Amen. Our God and God of our ancestors, may you rule in glory over all the earth, and let your grandeur be acclaimed throughout the world. Reveal the splendor of your majesty to all who dwell on earth, that all your works may know you as their maker, and all the living acknowledge you as their creator. Then all who breathe will say, the sovereign God of Israel is the one whose dominion extends to all creation.
Sanctify us with your souls, and let your glory be realized. Satisfy us with your goodness, glad us with your salvation. Purify our hearts for serving truth. For you, O God, are truth, and your word is truth forever.
sovereign God, let your name be forever exalted and blessed, and let life abundant be the heritage of all the children of your covenant. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Eternal God, whose nature is goodness, we give you thanks and praise.
Shalom.
Romain Gary wrote a book called Roots of Heaven. And he said the following: "For a long time now, I have had the feeling that our destinies are linked. In my eyes, dear elephant, sir, you present to perfection everything that is threatened today with extinction in the name of progress, efficiency, ideology, materialism. It seems clear today that we have been merely doing to other species and to yours in the first place what we are on the verge of doing to ourselves. Indeed, you are precisely that in my eyes, a symbol of purity, a dream of paradise lost, a yearning for the impossible, of human and beast living peacefully together. Anyway, you were standing there. Your trunk was limp, your ears collapsed, your eyes closed, and I remember that tears came to my eyes. I was seized by an almost irrepressible urge to come close to you, to press your trunk against me, to huddle against your hide, fully protected, to sleep peacefully forever. You are therefore considered as incompatible with modern times. And for all of us who are sick and tired of our polluted cities and even more polluted minds, your colossal presence and the fact of your survival against all odds acts as a God-sent reassurance. Everything is not yet lost. When I lived in Florida, I loved to spend time out in the water, sitting on dolphin boats and waiting patiently to watch the dolphins swim over to the boat. And of course, to take it was so incredibly special, so amazing to see these dolphins swim. They love to jump and play, and they love also to swim slowly and comfortably as they seem to be watching us on the boat. Dolphins, as you probably know, live in communities. They communicate by making clicks and buzzes and squeaks and whistles and more. They can actually be heard for miles around. Some scientists think that the dolphins slap the water surface with their bodies in order to communicate with each other. They really are amazing to watch. They're so beautiful and sleek, so uniquely special, and so caring about other creatures, both human and animal. Another favorite. If you arrive just off the islands at just the right time of year in the mangroves, and if you have binoculars or a good camera, you can sit quietly in the boat and watch the adult birds feed the babies. I was able to see something like 75 to 100 adult birds on a teeny tiny little island. You could see the babies holding their heads up, mouths open wide, asking for the parent birds to feed them. Most of those birds were white, but there were also pelicans and heron, and they were spectacular to watch as they dove into the water again and again and again. I love to tell my students that when we go outside and look around, we have to really pay attention. And I tell them that they have to count as many shades of green as they possibly can. And what about watching the sky in all of its shades of blues? Can you count the number of shades of blue? I also love to watch the alligators. That's a little weird, but I do enjoy watching alligators, as long as I don't get too close. Really close. They are amazing creatures. Did you know that alligators have existed for 37 million years, at least? Even 30 million years ago, alligators were pretty much exactly what they do now. And by the way, they have been hunted until they were very nearly extinct. Thank goodness they are no longer endangered, and alligators can be found almost everywhere in the right areas. And thank goodness now they are thriving. There are so many miracles in nature, so many ways that animals and humans too have grown and changed to protect the species. The adaptations existing in the animal kingdom are absolutely amazing. Take time to breathe deeply. Take time to enjoy what God has created. Did you know that elephant ears come in 2 sizes? Right? The sizes are smaller and larger. It has to do with how they've adapted to their environment over the thousands of years. Large-eared elephants live in hot climates, and their ears fan themselves and radiate the heat from their bodies. Smaller-eared elephants live in cooler climates and draw in the warmth. I really like watching the big cats. Why are the big cats' eyes in front of their heads? Zebras' eyes are on the sides of their heads. Big cats focus on chasing prey directly in front of them. Ungulates, or hoofed mammals, stand head to toe, side by side, and that way each of the animals can see 180 degrees, making it enough for the 2 animals to save each other, to be able to see everything going around them. And they stay aware of threats from hungry carnivores. Then there are polar bears. Polar bears are fascinating. Everybody knows that polar bears have white hair. Except they don't. They're not really white. Actually, what they have is thin tubes that are warmed by the bear's black skin, and it keeps the bears warm, as does heavy fur, of course, and forage blubber. The tubes appear white in the sun, camouflaging the bears. Small ears keep the heat in. This truly is an incredible world gifted by God. But it has been said that people will not love what they do not know, and they will not protect what they do not love. Tragically, I have been told, over 50,000 species a year are becoming extinct. The twin threats of human habitat and destruction and degradation and global climate change are devastating our natural world. You can just look around outside. Incredibly sadly, the very last male northern white rhino on the planet died March 20th, just 2 years ago. Sudan was the last male northern rhino on Earth. There remain only 2 females on the planet. They have been described as the end of an evolutionary path that stretched back 55 million years. Javan rhinos roamed once all over Southeast Asia. They are now confined to a minuscule population of only 74 of those rhinos. The Sumatran rhino is in the same poor state, with less than 80 rhinos left on the planet. Conservationists worry that a nearby volcano could wipe out all of the rhinos. The western black rhino was declared extinct 4 years ago. Ami Vitali of National Geographic, a photographer, wrote, "Today we are witnessing the extinction of a species that had survived for millions of years, but they could not survive mankind." Many believe that polar bears will soon follow. Warming climate and loss of icy habitat have taken a terrible toll. Bears cannot find enough food, for example, and they have great difficulty in finding dens. And there's those really, really cute little ringed seals that live on the ice. Climate change is destroying our environment, and it's impacting many aquatic animals. It is expected that the rising ocean temperatures, the pollution, the eroding beaches, all are changing the lives and the safety of these marvelous aquatic animals. And it is believed that within 100 years or less, many of these species will be extinct or highly endangered. I lived in Florida for a while, so it was also fun to watch the manatees. They need to be both cooler and warmer, different kinds of water. The climate is disrupting their cycles. As the storms grow larger and larger, the manatee habitats are being washed away. Where could they possibly go? There is no other place for them. On the critically endangered list now are just a few of the critically endangered. Here are just a few of the critically endangered. South China tigers, Amur leopards, Bornean orangutans, eastern and western lowland gorillas, mountain and cross-river gorillas, Sumatran orangutans, rhinos and tigers, Java rhinos, vaquita porpoises. More than 40% of all the amphibians, almost 33% of all the coral reefs, and more than a third of the marine animals are being threatened by extinction today. Half of the primates in the world are threatened. 1 in every 8 birds have been decimated. The rate of global extinction is over 100-fold. And still today, scientists estimate that more than 18,000 different species are facing death. Many aquatic species might not exist in the 100 years because of climate change. The ocean is getting warmer and the sea levels are rising around the world. Scientists believe this situation will lead to erosion and to the beaches disappearing. Hawaiian monk seals have become rarer and rarer. They are very severely endangered because they spend a third of their time on the land. These adorable little monk seals are disappearing at a rate of 4% every year. There are fewer than 1,200 Hawaiian monk seals on the planet. Within the next 3, maybe 4 years, these seals will be severely endangered, being amongst the most endangered animals on the planet. About a third of our planet's species could be extinct in less than 50 years. Up to 1 million species are threatened with extinction, many of them within a few decades. About 25% of all the average species are now threatened with extinction in land, freshwater, and marine animals. There is a 705% increase since 1970 in numbers of invasive alien species across 21 nations, and 30% reduction in habitat loss and deterioration. Hoofed animals would likely be extinct or would only be surviving in captivity if there were not massive conservation efforts. There is insufficient habitat for long-term survival. It just doesn't exist. We have to do something. We have to preserve the ecosystems for both humans and animals. 2 years ago in May, the UN issued a devastating report about the mass extinctions. There are almost 700 vertebrates that are now extinct since the 16th century, and 9% of domesticated breeds that are used for food and agriculture have become extinct by 2016, with at least another 1,000 breeds that are threatened. There are approximately 1 million animal and plant species now threatened with total extinction, a great many of them within decades. It is far more than ever before in human history. Incredibly sad, the last male existent northern rhino on the planet died just about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. Sudan was the last male northern rhino on Earth. Only 2 females, a mother and a daughter, remain alive on the planet. They have been described as the end of an evolutionary path that stretched back 55 million years. It's not enough to talk about it. Won't get us anywhere. So what can we do? I want you to start by looking around you. It has been said that people will not love what they do not know and will not protect what they don't love. It's quite simple. Tomorrow, go outside, enjoy the weather, revel, watching, appreciate the smells and sounds and colors. Stand in awe of God's majesty. Now imagine if your children or grandchildren never saw the coral reefs due to bleaching and dying from acidification and warming climate. if all the rhinos were gone? And what if the manatees were gone and the gorillas? We Americans, in most states at least, have not yet experienced a bearless, eagleless, catless, or wolfless woods. Do you want your children to see a live gorilla? Is this the legacy that we are about to leave to our children? Judaism teaches us that we are part of creation. We are joined to the myriad of other living beings, life created by God and life that God called good. As Jews, we understand that we are to be God's hands on earth, doing God's work in order to help heal our imperfect world. Wetlands and forests and rivers and lakes and coral reefs and wild animals and many, many, many other entire ecosystems are threatened by pollution and human encroachment and resource extractions. If we choose not to change our course, humankind will destroy millions of species in just the next 50 years. Judaism teaches us that we must be involved in the preservation of the species. It is a moral obligation. It is demanded of us by God. Endangered species are God's creatures. As God's partners, we know that we have an absolute obligation to protect them. Later on in October, we will be putting together an environmental committee. We will be learning from environmentalists around the region and developing a plan to become involved and to make a real difference. In the meantime, to become involved from the beginning, please let Bob Berwin or me or Julie know that you are interested. You could even just slip a piece of paper under Julie's door with your name and that you care and that you want to make the difference. That you want to do something, somehow, in some way, to make it just a little bit better. Be sure, by the way, that you have your phone number and your email on that slip so that we can get in touch with you. Torah teaches us that human beings must avoid what's called tsar ba'alei chayim. Tsar ba'alei chayim is this causing, you can't cause pain to any living creature. We're taught that God blessed Noah and his children, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and this last part of the sentence, replenish the earth. You have to do something. The Talmud demands that when we see beautiful or special animals, we must recite a blessing. The blessing comes from Brachot 9, and this is the word. These are the words. Praised are you, O eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who created all of these incredible animals in God's world. Another popular blessing. Praised are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who created everything for God's glory. If you look at the Psalm, Psalm 104 describes the creatures of this incredible marvel. Eternal One, how manifold are your works. In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your riches, and the glory of God will endure forever. And I add the caveat, only if we do something. Genesis teaches us, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you and with every living creature that is with you, of the birds, of the cattle, of the wild animals of the earth with you. Our Bible stresses that our fate will be shared with the animals. Ecclesiastes strongly teaches that if wildlife perishes, human beings will not long survive. For that which befalls the children of humankind befalls the beasts. Even one, if one thing befalls them as the one dies, so will the other one die. They all have one breath, so that one human being has no preeminence above the beast. Torah begins with the words, in the beginning. Rashi says, in a beginning. There's a difference between in the beginning and in a beginning. In the beginning focuses our attention on one single beginning. In a beginning implies that there were many beginnings. Rashi teaches that in the beginning God created and destroyed many worlds until God finally created this world. God saw that it was good and said to Adam and Eve, "This is the last world that I will create. I place it in your hands. Hold it in trust. Take care of it. If you don't, no one will ever come after you to do so." Can we truly say that we are fulfilling our responsibilities to the creatures that God delivered into our hands? Or perhaps, can we promise ourselves and each other that we can do better? Keni Hiratson, may this be God's will.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, Hatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned against you. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu Ve'al Aleinu V'Tatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our children. Avinu Malkeinu, Kala Dever V'Cherev V'Ra'av Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, make an end to sickness, war, and famine. Avinu Malkeinu, Kala Kol Tsar U'Mastin Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, make an end to all oppression. Avinu Malkeinu, Kavenu B'Sefer Chayim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us for blessing in the book of life. Avinu Malkeinu, Kadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, let the new year be a good year for us. Avinu Malkeinu, Harem Karen Yisrael Amecha. Avinu Malkeinu, give strength to your people Israel.
Just a couple really brief, very brief announcements. As you know, most of you, if not all of you, are very used to having a lovely oneg after services. And unfortunately, because of COVID, we are not doing that this evening. And we are hoping, against all hopes, that we will be able to do that in the short term, but it's not going to happen tonight. And so all of us are going to miss that sense of community, but hopefully we'll be able to talk to each other a little bit and enjoy a little bit of time with each other and then head out. So I would also like to remind you that if you would like to be part of this effort on behalf of all of the different problems we are experiencing in our local community and in the larger community, please be sure to talk to Ron, please be sure to talk to Julie, you can talk to me, and we're going to be doing some educational pieces, we're going to be learning and trying to figure out what we can do that would help us to make this something really important and special in our corner of the world. As you walk out the door this evening, you will see that you're going to be putting those red books out on the table. We're not using them tomorrow. We just thought we would memorize everything and we wouldn't need to. Okay, so what we actually are doing, we've been talking for the past 2+ months about the prayer books that we're using. And the prayer books that we are using, these red books, these prayer books were put together in the early 1970s. I think it was 1972, if I'm correct, but I might be a little bit off. Some of the language, some people feel is stilted, some people like it, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to say, okay, we are beginning process to look at prayer books, to look at new prayer books. They've come out in the past 10 years or so. And they work kind of like the blue prayer books that we use on, during the week, but of course the language is different and stuff like that. So what we're going to ask you to do tomorrow morning, when you come in, we're hoping that all the red books are going to have disappeared miraculously under the credenza over there, and that the other books are going to be pulled out. Those books that are going to be pulled out are stapled together. All right, we wanted to give everyone a chance to look at those books, to try them out with us. So tomorrow morning, our service is going to be conducted in the Mishkan HaNefesh, which is the Reform Movement prayer book, and we're gonna do that. We've shortened it a bit. We'll change things around. We're going to do the same thing over Yom Kippur. Next week it'll be for Kol Nidre. So you get a taste of different kinds of what these passages would feel like. It will not feel 100% comfortable. I guarantee you that, because you've been doing the same thing for a long time. But what I want you to do is open your heart and open your mind and think about it and feel about it and talk to each other about it and share with us, with the executive board, with the board, share with us what your feelings are. And we want to look over the course of a number of months where we'll try out different parts of the services and involve you in that process as well if you would like to be so involved. And so before I take us back to Alinu, is there anybody who's got a question about the possibility of new prayer books? Of using we are using the prayer book tomorrow, we are using one next week. But is anybody sort of like sitting on a question that you have to answer, that you really need an answer for? Okay, well that's easy. Nobody's smiling. Okay, so what we are going to do then is we are going to proceed with that over a number of months, and if you are so inclined and want to talk about it, then we encourage you to do so. Okay. Please turn now to page 43. Page 43. By the way, just a reminder, because I forgot, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we're going to be doing Tashlich, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And it'll be, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 minutes or something like that, where the ducks are, wherever the ducks are. I'm not sure where the ducks are, but I know there are ducks there, because that's what I hear about. So we are going to be doing Tashlich with TI, and then at 4 o'clock, we have a children's service, or family service, and we invite any of you who want to join us to do so as well. And so, now we're going to turn to page 43, and I'm going to ask you all please to rise.
Shalom, Asa,
There are so many people who have lost their lives, and so many people who are mourning those who have lost their lives. And so we keep in our hearts the thoughts of all of those people trying to get out of Afghanistan who have been killed. We think in our hearts about all those who lost their lives in the flooding of the hurricane. We think in our hearts about all of those people, so many of them that it's hard to number. God of consolation, surely you count in heaven, just as we count here on earth, in shock and in sorrow. The souls sent back to you, one by one, the dead from the COVID pandemic, as the ones become tens, the tens become hundreds, the hundreds become thousands, and then 100,000s, and now millions upon millions. Each soul is a heartbreak. Each soul is a life that is denied. El Malay Rachamim, Shohen Vamrami, Amnetzem Mimcha Nekona Tachat Kanfei HaShekhinah, Im Kiroshim B'Torim K'Zohor HaRakia Mazkirim Et Nishmatam, Shahachu L'Alaman, Bal HaRachamim Yastireu B'Seter K'Nafal L'Olamim, B'Tzor Chaim Et Nishmatam, Adonai Hu Nachalatam V'Tanuach B'Sholom Amishkavam V'Nomar. Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant in your perfect rest and your sheltering presence to all those who have entered into eternity. O God of mercy, let them find refuge in your eternal presence, wrapped in the shadow of your wings and brought close to you, now and always. Let their souls be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is their inheritance. May they rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. Page 45. Yidkadal Yidkadash Ne'rabah, Yalmad Yivra Hirutei Yamlik Malchutei, V'chaye Kol Yomei Chom V'chaye Kol Beit Yisrael, V'agala V'zman Karev Yiru. Amen. Yehei Shnei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Amei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitbahar V'yitraman V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitalel V'yitalal Shnei B'Rishah Arihu, La'elam Yimkol Birchata Shirata, Tushbechata V'nechamata, Ta'amikran V'yalam V'yibru. Amen. Yehei Shmon Rabba Min Shemaya Chaim, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yibru. Amen. Oseh Shalom Nimrama, Huya Eseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yibru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen.
Amen.
everybody hugs if you are doing such things in your family. Notice I said in your family. I will meet you right outside there, so I'll be able to say goodbye. Give me a second to get a mask, and I will see you all right outside in the lobby. And I forgot, there's a little goodie bag for everybody.
One for
Everybody
family.
should have a goodie bag. We can't have an O&A. No. But you're going to have a wonderful goodie bag that was put together for all of you so that you could have something special to enjoy EREV ROSH HASHANNA this evening. All right, so give me a second. I will be out there.